2014 was the third year for the FIA World Endurance Championship, and the season began in the UK at a track laced in history.
Hello and welcome to Silverstone for the first round of the season.
It was a warm welcome for some new faces in the paddock, most famous of all former F1 driver Mark Webber. And before the serious business of the championship got underway, there was time for the 2014 class photo. As well as some new drivers, there are also some major changes in the technical regulations and some new teams to get to know, including Porsche, who made a welcome return to endurance racing. In GTE Pro, there's a new and strong driver pairing in the 51 AF Corsa Ferrari of Jimmy Bruni and Tony Villander.
This year I'm with Tony Villander, like the last race of last year, and so I'm very happy. We go very well together, and like with Giancarlo in the past, so that's a positive thing. It will be very strong, very difficult against our rivals Porsches and Aston Martin.
The number 97 Aston Martin came so close to the title last season. They return, celebrating their centenary year, and hope to turn their luck around. The number 91 and 92 Porsches were strong last year, and in 2014 see a new driver pairing for both cars. It's a strong field of Ferraris in the GTE AM category, and the number 90 8-star team hope to shine once again. Aston Martin are back with their Danish crew and the addition of Pedro Lamy. The LMP2 field is small but strong, and all the cars are powered by Nissan. G-Drive have Roman Rusinov, Olivier Pla and Julian Canal, while the SMP team will benefit from the experience of Nick Minassian. In the blue-ribboned LMP1 category, we were delighted to see the return of Porsche. It's been a long time coming, and they have a very strong driver lineup in both cars.
For me, we're the team of the future, but still now we have to do the right step in 2014, and we are the beginners, among these manufacturers, the strong competition, and we have to learn and we have to grow together. That's very important.
Toyota have had a reshuffle with their drivers, but they remain in fighting form, and the 2014 changes in regulations seem to be working in their favour.
We have 1000 horsepower kicking our back end out of corners with the front and rear hybrid drive. Capacitor, it's phenomenal, it's really cool stuff. Let's try to beat these guys from Germany, and then we're all happy.
And of course, there is Audi, and the question is, can they continue their domination this year? The regulations may not be so perfect for them, but as Tom Christensen says, it's up to the drivers to adapt.
We have seen a little bit in the prologue that it's very important that you deliver a perfect laps, and that's always going to change a little bit depending on traffic and depending on driving style. And trying to always hit the target is a great challenge.
Now, let Season 3 commence. The fans were as eager as the drivers to see the opening race of the season, and prior to the race, they took the opportunity to collect autographs as the organisers opened the pit lane to the public, making the experience of the WEC even more unique. There was nothing between the top 3 LMP1 cars in the qualifying, and Porsche sat third on the grid, just 0.3 of a second behind the championship-winning Audi number 1 car.
Happy Easter.
Taking the first pole of the season, it was the number 7 Toyota of Wirtz, Sarazan and Nakajima. They had a clear track ahead, but the rain was already beginning to fall. Porsche Porsche were hoping for a strong start to the weekend in the return to racing in the Le Mans prototype.
The 6 hours of Silverstone.
And for Toyota, it was a perfect start to the season, with a strong start to the race taking the early lead. Over in the GTE Pro, Tony Verlander was proving his worth as he challenged WEC in the Porsche 911 for the lead in an epic battle. The two cars wheel to wheel through the Luffield complex. For Audi, though, it was not such a perfect picture. An early incident for Lucas de Grassi put him out of the race. And it wasn't long before another problem caused the second of the Audis to crash, and it was a non-finish for the German team.
In the WEC history that Audi retires both cars, but I guess that day had to happen, and this was in Silverstone, so let's forget about it, learn from it and come back stronger in Spa.
Porsche were impressive in qualifying. In the race, however, they had a few mechanical issues with the number 14 car. For Aston Martin, it was a great start to the season as they held on to first and second in the GTE AM category. There was drama in the pit lane when the 51 Ferrari of Verlander and Bruni caught fire whilst refuelling, but quick work from the team meant they could rejoin the race and went on to finish in the points. It's the start of the season and already the stage is set for a fantastic year of racing with battles aplenty across the field. And here the LMP2 class put on a fine show as G-Drive chased down KCMG in the battle for the lead.
Red flag, red flag. Safety car will finish this lap and cars will stop on the start-finish line.
So the results stand with Toyota finishing first and second, a podium for Porsche in their first race, and G-Drive took the victory in the LMP2. Aston Martin number 95 and Porsche number 92 were victorious in the GTs.
Race 2 was in Spa and it was a good memory for us.
Next up, Spa-Francorchamps, one of motorsport's finest circuits. Famous for the Eau Rouge complex and a firm favourite amongst the fans. The second round of the World Endurance Championship was once again a sellout, with race enthusiasts enjoying the entertainment provided alongside the racing. Here they collect autographs prior to the race and meet the drivers whilst they're relaxed and enjoying the stardom that comes with competing in a World Championship. As ever, it was a very busy grid prior to the start, with VIPs and teams occupying the start-finish straight. Pole was set by the Porsche number 14 of Yanni Dumas and Lieb in their second race, and already it's a fine improvement from their first race at Silverstone. They start ahead of the Toyota number 8 and Audi number 2.
To snatch pole was really nice, but pole positions doesn't give you any trophies, so well, it sounds weird when you're on pole position to say you only try to finish the race, but in our position where we are, where we come from, it will be just great to finish the race.
Final preparations down on the grid, and Anthony Davidson making time to keep up to speed with the WEC application. The 6 hours of Spa began with the Porsche of Mark Lieb holding on to the lead into the first corner. Along the old start-finish straight, he had to fend off pressure from the number 2 Audi and the number 8 Toyota. The car leading the championship into the second round, fighting hard as the cars came through the Eau Rouge complex flat out. It was the number 1 Audi who led from the number 8 Toyota with literally nothing between the pair. And just behind them, the battle for third was between the number 7 Toyota and the number 2 Audi, with the Toyota just getting ahead and holding the position as they take on the long Raidillon straight. In the LMP2 category, things very much reflecting the battle of the previous race, with KCMG just pulling away from G-Drive Racing early in the race, and the pair proving how well matched they are in their Nissan Power machines. Back to the LMP1 cars, and it's Lapierre charging to pass the Audi of Duval, and wheel-to-wheel action as the pair dice for position. Lapierre pulls away, just proving the power the Toyotas have this season under the new regulation hybrid machinery. The Astons were strong once more, this time in the GTE Pro class, where Stefan Mucker's number 97 car was less than half a second ahead of the 99 car piloted by Fernando Reis. Further down the pack in GTE Pro, and the battle for fourth place was most definitely on between Pilet in the Porsche and young Brit James Collado in the Ferrari, who drives very defensively as the Porsche seeks right, then left in a bid to pass. But for now, Collado holds position. He's one of the youngest drivers on the grid and showing real maturity in such an experienced field of drivers. Race leader Porsche number 14 pits, and it's not their finest hour as the car stalls on exit. The lead is handed to the number 8 Toyota, but this is an endurance race and there are still over 4 hours on the clock. Battle for second in the LMP2 and SMP Racing with Victor Scheiter right on the tail of Simon Dolan's Zytek Nissan number 38. It's Scheiter who is making this look easy as he darts out on the entrance to Les Combes, passes and pulls away on the exit, and it's a change in position. Well, the fans are enjoying the race action, as well as the Belgian food and the activities provided by the WEC away from the track. Tom Christensen in the Audi garage, making time for special guests Pierre Fillon and Jean Todt. Back on track, it's the battle for third between Audi and Toyota. It's Lucas de Grassi in the Audi who is desperately trying to find a way past Alex Wurz, currently in third position. And under pressure, Wurz brakes late, locks up and allows the Audi to pass.
Okay, you need to toggle hybrid switch, you need to toggle on and off hybrid switch and ignition and ignition.
A technical problem for Porsche allowed Audi to get further ahead. And meanwhile, Davide Rion under pressure from Patrick Pilet, who was once again showing the Porsche outpaced the Ferrari as he got into the slipstream. And after a spectacular effort, passes into the right-hand corner and takes the position. As the clock reached zero, it was Toyota once again who was celebrating when the checkered flag fell over the number 8 car. Victory for them ahead of the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Big one next month, huh?
A perfect start to the year for Toyota with 2 wins in 2 races. Taking their second win of the season in the LMP2 category was G-Drive Racing in their Morgan Nissan. And reigning champions, the number 51 Ferrari, celebrate their first victory this season. A Ferrari victory too in the GTE AM with the number 61 Ferrari of Venturi, Ciocci and Perez Compan. And the LMP winners, Toyota. Alongside them, Audi in second, and the second of the Toyota cars in third. And that meant a 52-point lead for Toyota in the championship. Next stop, the big one, the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Welcome in France for the third race of the season.
The 24 Hours of Le Mans is the third stop on the WEC calendar and is worth double points to the drivers. The grid was packed in the build-up to the race as the excitement built during the traditional Ear of Corn formation grid, the national anthem, and of course the presentation of the trophy. 54 cars started the race with a total of 165 drivers. And into the first corner, it was Toyota who led the field, while Porsche came under pressure from Audi. With just 1 hour of the 24 completed, Audi were looking strong as they mounted the challenge for second and third, with the numbered 8 Toyota sandwiched in the middle. Meanwhile, in the GT category, the Chevrolet Corvette number 73 was hot on the heels of pole-sitting AF Corsa Ferrari number 51.
Be advised of drops of rain in the area of Teteroux.
Then came the rain and disaster for the number 8 Toyota of Davidson, Buemi and Lapierre, who crashed heavily into the Armco. The Ferrari of Sam Bird also fell victim to the weather, and the number 3 Audi also off.
Go anywhere we see a lot of engine oil, we cannot come back. Can you bring back the car? Can you bring back the car?
High drama in the opening hours. The Toyota makes it in for repairs, but for Audi, it's a very emotional early to bed. The rain was horrendous, and the safety car was deployed. 3 hours after the start of the race, the sky was again blue, and the restart saw the number 20 Porsche take the lead from the number 7 Toyota. 7 hours completed, the Aston Martin number 97 with Darren Turner at the wheel had closed in on the Chevrolet Corvette entry number 74 of Richard Westbrook. And as Turner passed to take the lead, the atmosphere in the garage was celebratory. Le Mans spirit is high at the 24-hour race, and the party atmosphere very much alive throughout the night, with the carnival lights, the live music, and of course, the stunning sights of the sports cars on track. At 5 a.m. came the news that the Toyota number 7, who had been leading the race, had been forced to retire with an electrical problem. After many position changes between the Ferrari number 51 and the Aston Martin number 97, a power steering problem caused the Aston to make an unscheduled stop, and the Ferrari took the GTE lead in the 19th hour. After the Toyota retirement, it was the number 20 Porsche who led.
Tom, you can slow down into the first chicane, stop and do a power cycle.
Problems for the Audi of Tom Christensen with just 4 hours still to go. And the number 51 Ferrari continued to lead, here on board with Fisichella. Just 2 hours remaining and high drama for the number 20 Porsche.
Low power, low power. High oil dip, high oil dip.
After a very tense 24 hours, it was a 1-2 victory for Audi in the 2014 24 Hours of Le Mans, with Lotterer, Fasler and Trellouillet the race winners for the third time. The crew of car number 2 finished ahead of the Toyota number 8 in third.
It's not only Audi, it's the team that works for Audi, because it's always people, and these people have really done a tremendous job.
MotorSport won in the LMP2 class, and in the GTE Pro, it was AF Corsa number 51 who took the flag. Finally, in the GTE AM, it was the number 95 Aston Martin who were victorious. Just time then to spray the champagne.
Welcome in Austin for the 4th round of the championship.
After a long summer break, the World Endurance Championship was back, and round 4 took place in Austin, Texas, at the Circuit of the Americas. Dubbed the Lone Star Le Mans, it's a popular race amongst the fans. The Americans love the spirit and they're keen to understand the format of racing. Under soaring temperatures and with an electric atmosphere, the WEC was ready for another 6-hour spectacle. And for the first time ever, the race was to go into the night in America, with the checkered flag due at 11 p.m. Championship leaders in the Toyota number 8 are the pole sitters, with Buemi starting alongside the Audi of Dumas. It was an action-packed start to the race as the manufacturers jockeyed for position. The number 8 car just ahead of the number 14 Porsche and sister car number 7 Toyota. After the close racing of the opening laps, Alex Wurz climbed his way up through the pack to challenge the number 14 Porsche for the lead, and into turn 17, he takes the position with a perfect manoeuvre. A spin for Olivier Pla in the G-Drive Racing LMP2 car. And back with the LMP1 cars and on board with the Audi number 1, who's ploughing his way through the slower traffic. And look how close this is, the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th position between the 2 Audis and the Porsche number 14. An unfortunate moment for Sebastian Buemi, who spins whilst leading the race by more than 30 seconds. He stalls the car, but manages to get going and rejoins the race, still leading. Here, the battle for 2nd position in LMP2, it's Extreme Motorsports and KCMG. The team are on the radio.
Scott, you're currently P1. Pla has pitted and doing a really good job.
Then came the rain, Texas style, and the circuit became like an ice rink, with drivers aquaplaning all over the place. Cue the 2nd red flag of the season. The WEC is about all-round entertainment, as well as providing some of the most exciting sports car racing on offer, and Austin was no exception. The trackside activities extended to rodeo bulls, local cowboys showing off their skills, American muscle cars were of course on display to wow the crowds. And if the cars didn't do it for you, then perhaps a concert by Blue Oyster Cult. For kids, young and old, the simulators were popular. And of course, the Spirit of Le Mans Club rounded off the animation perfectly, providing the perfect place to take in the atmosphere and enjoy some hospitality. Upon nightfall, the circuit and the skies were lit up in picture-perfect beauty. Into the night then, and the weather improved enough for the race to restart. It was Ben Trellouillet in the number 2 Audi who led the pack down the start-finish straight and into turn 1. Still, a very wet track to contend with. The charge is on from Lapierre, who needed to unlap himself to get the time back that he lost when the red flag fell.
Marcel, that Porsche is for position. That Porsche is for position.
Marcel Fazler on a charge with just over 1 hour remaining and is battling through slower traffic whilst trying to close the gap between him and the Porsche number 14 of Mark Lieb. As the night continued, the race just got more intense. In the GTE Pro category, all eyes were on the Porsche number 92 and Aston Martin number 97, as the Porsche showed their tyre performance was much better in the cooling temperatures. With the race leaders and Mark Lieb under immense pressure from Sebastian Buemi as the pair make short work of lapping the LMP2 traffic, and Buemi takes second position. The Astons line up to finish 1-2 in the AM category with just minutes left on the clock. And after a sterling performance, it's Audi's second victory of the 2014 season, with the team of Lotterer, Fazler and Trellouillet taking the checkered flag. The team had a fantastic strategy, and the win was well deserved.
It was a really tough race, but I think all the team did a really great job, really great. No mistakes and a very good strategy, so we can thank all the team.
Audi celebrate, but for Toyota, it was a race to forget. KCMG brought their Oreca Nissan home to victory in the LMP2 category, while SMP Racing takes second and Extreme Speed Motorsports third in their debut race here in America. Aston Martin team boss Dave Richards jovial as they take victory in the GT Pro with the pairing of Mucker and Turner in the number 97 car. And in the GT AM, it was a 1-2 finish for the British Mark in the number 98 car taking the win. Double celebrations for Audi in Austin and an 18-point lead in the championship. But the season is far from over. The next stop is Japan. Under the shadow of the spectacular Mount Fuji, round 5 of the World Endurance Championship was looking bright. Much brighter than last year, in fact, with the weather on side and an anticipated typhoon staying at bay. The locals are huge motorsport fans, and while schools were given the full VIP treatment, the drivers were on hand to greet their public, with autographs, photographs and a Q&A session in the paddock. It's fair to say the social activities were enjoyed by all.
The fans are really different here. I mean, probably have some footage. There's so many around already on the free practice days. Some people come with some model cars for me to sign, and they have more model cars of myself than I have at home. And they're so enthusiastic and like motorsport, have a lot of knowledge, and they're very enjoyable being here.
Down on the grid, and it was Toyota who took the pole in the number 8 car at their home race. They started alongside the Porsche number 20. Thousands of fans in Fuji take their seats for the 6-hour race. As the lights go out, it's a fantastic start for the Toyota and the Porsche as they go side by side into turn 1. That's the number 8 Toyota ahead of the Porsche and just creeping in the Audi as well. And look at that, the battle at the beginning of the race, absolutely incredible. And the first lap is full of position changes as the Toyota passes the Audi under the hybrid power, and it's 3 abreast as they approach the right-hander and Audi creep ahead once again. Less than a minute into the race and another position change. Buemi back in the lead and it's Toyota, Audi, Porsche. But not for long as Mark Webber makes a dive up the inside of the Audi to take second position. And the number 14 Porsche has caught the number 2 Audi to challenge for third. This has to go down in history, surely, as one of the most exciting opening laps of the WEC. Things were no less exciting in the LMP2 as Imperatori and Pla had nothing between them as they made their way through traffic whilst battling for the lead, a battle that was to continue for the full 6 hours. And as always, part of the challenge of endurance racing is to contend with the slower traffic. And here, Pla are struggling. Porsche proved they had pace in Fuji as they led coming into the first hour. And the Toyotas holding second and third at their home race as they remain close on track with the number 7 car just ahead of number 8. But coming into the corner, there's a position change for the duo. 1 hour and 30 minutes into the race and the success of the Porsche was short-lived. Here, the number 20 car slipped back to 4th after an error under braking allowed the Audi to get ahead. Anthony Davidson now leading in the number 8 Toyota, and as he comes through traffic, he narrowly avoids disaster when the Aston Martin of Dalai Lama spins, entering the corner. Webber and Sarrazin, Porsche and Toyota jockey for position, and it's wheel to wheel as Webber runs wide out of the corner and Sarrazin goes ahead.
I have no power suddenly. No power. Okay, copy, Romain, copy.
2 hours remain and Porsche of Dumas is struggling for power whilst in 4th position, and once again the Aston staged the perfect race in the GTE AM category with the 1st and 2nd respectively, and the pair continue to battle for position as Poulsen takes the lead. Rebellion Racing suffered with engine problems, and it was an early to bed for them as they were forced to retire. Local driver Keiko Aihara was duly happy with her performance with Oak Racing, who made a welcome return to the WEC. Here in the distinct black and pink, duelling with SMP, but the pressure just too high and the pair spin. But with no contact, they continue. It was all over for Lotus, where they had a rather spectacular fire on the pit lane and a narrow escape for Bouchou, who managed to get away without injury. Tony Verlander and Jimmy Bruni drove the perfect race after a disappointing qualifying. Their strategy and expectation came to fruition. Just 22 minutes remain and the battle between Imperatori and Pla continued to rage, with Pla taking advantage through the slower traffic and passing the KCM car to take the lead. Verlander continued to take a much-deserved victory for AF Corsa in the number 51 Ferrari, and overall race winners, Toyota number 8 of Buemi and Davidson.
Fantastic job, Anthony. Fantastic job this weekend. Well done. Well done. Yeah! Toyota, baby! Go on yourself!
At their home race, Toyota celebrate not just the win, but a 2nd place as well. And that also hands them the lead at the championship. A perfect weekend for Toyota, and to do that in front of their home fans meant everything. The LMP2 battle was won by G-Drive Racing, and the Aston Martin number 95 are winners in the GTE AM. AF Corsa celebrate another victory in the GTE Pro. And it's time to pop the cork on the champagne, and Toyota to start the party as they celebrate their double victory at their home circuit and a return to the lead in the championship standings. Toyota team president was duly elated.
Yeah, it's a fantastic. Yeah, after 2 frustrated race, yeah, today is a day for Toyota. Everybody very, very happy, include the Japanese fans. There's many Japanese fans. It's like our home race.
After our dominant victory in Fuji, Shanghai is the next mission.
As ever, Shanghai was popular amongst the fans, with every available spectator spot filled as the atmosphere built on the grid, with our Chinese hosts laying on traditional carnival-style entertainment with music and, of course, the Dancing Dragon. Preparations complete, and it's down to drivers and strategy for the 6 hours ahead. The weather is dry and cool, and it's time for the teams to vacate the grid. The tension begins to build, and the crowds look on with bated breath. The grandstands are absolutely packed. The number 14 Porsche of Dumas, Lieb and Yanni take their 2nd pole of the season, and alongside them on the front row, it's the championship-leading Toyota of Buemi and Davidson. As the lights go out, it was a perfect start from Romain Dumas, who took the lead into the first corner. But it's the Audi number 2 car of Andre Lotterer that got the most impressive start, as he charged down the outside into turn 1, passing the sister car and challenging Alexander Wirtz for 4th. The Toyota closed the door and remained ahead. Disaster struck early on for Bruni in the number 51 Ferrari when he struck the back of stationary LMP2 KCMG car that had stopped on track with a fuel pump failure. With the possibility of sealing the championship at this race, Tony Villander and Jimmy Bruni obviously devastated.
I'm okay, just a bit of a headache, but I think it's normal. It was a very big impact. I found an LMP2 stuck in the middle of the racing line, so no chance to avoid it.
The fuel pump malfunctioned, so I lost all fuel pressure, and then the car shut down. It also had a link with the electrical system of the car, so I lost all power. Jimmy had no chance to do anything about it. It's really a shame, really.
Okay, the car is almost clean, but there's a lot of debris on track. They would really need to clean it up.
Whilst the race continued under safety car, Toyota made the decision to change their race strategy, pitting both cars and hoping to reduce race time lost from pit stops towards the end of the race. After 21 minutes of safety car, the race started once more, and it was Dumas who led ahead of the number 20 Porsche and the two Audis.
You are fast at lap. 17.5 behind Dumas and 13.5 on the Audi 1.
Toyota charging through as the second hour of the race began. Buemi showed his worth as he challenged the Audi of De Grassi for fourth, taking the position at turn 1. And then it was just Andre Lotterer to reel in, which he did almost with ease and put himself back into a podium position. Just 6 minutes later, and Buemi had caught the Porsche of Dumas. And lunging up the inside through the right-hand corner, he takes second position. Meanwhile, the race leader in the Porsche number 20 took the first of their pit stops, and the strategy of Toyota paid off as Buemi took the lead. Hartley took the wheel of the Porsche, but was unable to keep the Toyota in his sights as he slowed dramatically with a left rear puncture on his outlap. As he makes his way back to the pits, the tyre comes loose and it's off. Tyre degradation was at the forefront of the team's concerns, and for Porsche, it was just a nightmare. The LMP2 battle for second was on between the number 30 car of Extreme Speed Sports and the number 27 SMP car, Gonzalez and Mediani. The fans were incredibly enthusiastic in Shanghai, and away from the track, they took time to make the most of the activities laid on by the WEC organisation. There was even a performance from one of China's most famous pop stars to enjoy. The WEC race weekend is for the whole family, with computer animation, race cars and road cars on display. And let's not forget the Le Mans spirit, which can be enjoyed in the hospitality trackside. Back to the action, and just over 1 hour and 30 minutes remaining. The Audis continue to struggle with straight line speed, as we see here with Tom Christensen just unable to close in on third place Porsche of Neil Yanni. Stefan Mucker in the GTE leading Aston Martin was forced to retire as he suffered a rather spectacular engine failure. The expertise of Christensen came to fruition as he used his corner speed to challenge Yanni for third, but it's not enough, and Yanni maintains the edge. Victors in Shanghai were the duo of Davidson and Buemi, who drove the perfect race, with the early pit stops paying off and Toyota's fight for the title even stronger.
Perfect weekend, guys. Absolutely perfect. Thanks so much for your work, for the car, for the team effort. Fantastic team.
Finally, first podium, finally. Good job.
The number 14 Porsche held on to third to take their first podium of the year, and it was a perfect weekend for Toyota. G-Drive Racing delivered once again, and the win in China helped them to close the gap in their fight for the 2014 title. They're just 8 points shy of SMP Racing with 2 races to go. GTE AM victory went to the Aston Martin number 98, who drove a fine race. And in the GTE Pro, it was the Porsche of Makowiecki and Pile who were on top. The 91 car took second position, making it a top 2 for Porsche. The teams celebrate their victories here in China. Toyota have a 1-2 finish and will leave Asia with a 29-point advantage in the championship. It's time for the penultimate race of the season.
Welcome in Bahrain for the 7th round of the WEC.
The penultimate race of the year took place under the desert sun of Bahrain.
friends, Weber and some of the Ferrari guys. About the championship, I think Toyota has the opportunity today to close it, and yeah, they've been superb all year, and we see if we can see an interesting race.
Thanks very much, enjoy it.
As ever, the grid was a busy one, with special guests enjoying the best view for the final preparations. The number 14 Porsche took their third pole of the season, and as the lights went out, they made a perfect start, leaving the championship-leading Toyota to slip down the order, and a Porsche 1-2 into the first corner. With the Audi number 2 challenging Buemi for third, the Toyota stays ahead. Contact for G-Drive Racing meant they had to make an early return to the pits to have a damaged rear wishbone attended to, holding their championship contention in the balance. Toyota made an incredible charge through the field, with the number 8 car of Sebastian Buemi taking the lead from Romain Dumas after just 10 minutes of the race. They pass with ease and show the power performance advantage of the Toyota hybrid. Meanwhile, it was drama in the LMP2 category when SMP Racing lost the entire front bodywork on the number 37 car on the pit straight, causing them to spend valuable time on pit road. After the disastrous end to the Shanghai race, the number 51 Ferrari of Villander and Bruni were determined to seal the championship in this race. Villander put the pressure on WEC in the Porsche in order to get ahead of their rivals where they needed to be. And here they are side by side as they come through the right-hander. Villander gets ahead and pulls away. Despite struggling with consistent pace, Andre Lotterer in his Audi number 2 secured fastest lap with a 1:46.319. It was a tough end of season for Audi, but they proved they still have good pace. And with 4 hours and 20 minutes of the race still to go, the Toyota of Mike Conway was next to challenge Dumas in the number 14 Porsche after ploughing his way through the field and on a circuit that is very difficult to drive. With only one racing line, the new kid on the block finds his opportunity. In a very impressive manoeuvre, he passes the Porsche to take second position.
Box is lap, box for alternator problem, box is lap, pit confirmed.
An alternator problem for the championship leaders forced them to the pits, and as Mark Webber looked on, the car was taken back into the box for work to commence, and doubts over Toyota's championship battle began to surface. "30 minutes later, and the team was still working hard to get the car back out. Back on track, and the GTE battle was as thrilling as ever. Jimmy Bruni, third place car, pulls out from behind the leading Porsche, and second placed Aston Martin to come alongside on the straight. And into the right-hander passes both cars, leaving Darren Turner in second position and the Porsche back in third. Toyota were ready to rejoin the race after a 30-minute pit stop, and the brief now for Davidson and Buemi was simply to finish the race. Over in the LMP2, it was Mediani in the SMP car who was under pressure from the KCMG car, who pulls out alongside the leader into turn 1, takes the inside line and passes to take the position. In the pits, with what looks like a small fire at the rear, is the championship contending SMP car of Nick Minassian.
Lots of oil on track.
It's terminal, and that will leave G-Drive rubbing their hands together as the SMP car drifts further away from the 2014 title. Victory for the first time in 2014 was to go to the Toyota number 7 car in Bahrain, and Alex Wirtz delighted to take that checkered flag.
Thank you guys, good win. I'm very sorry for the problem with car 8. Our car was running fine, carrying it home. Another victory in the pocket for TMP, Toyota.
Reason for double celebrations in the Toyota camp as Davidson and Buemi, after a troubled race, secured the Drivers' Championship title with one race still to go. And the Manufacturers' World Championship is still in the balance.
We are really pleased, obviously, to be now world champion. It's a great feeling. We just need to fight again for the constructor at the next race, but yeah, it's not the best way to win it, but we are really happy. I think we've shown we were quick and we deserve it, so that's the most important.
Well done.
Thank you.
Not an Audi in sight on the podium at Bahrain. Toyota on the top step with Porsche second and third. A fine result for them in their maiden season in the WEC. KCMG fought hard in Bahrain and it paid off as they took the checkered flag to win in the LMP2 category. SMP finished second and Oak Racing in third. The Aston Martin trio of Poulsen, Tim and Heinemeier Hansen were victorious in the GTE AM, and that meant that Heinemeier Hansen and Poulsen are champions in 2014. Jimmy Bruni and Tony Verlander scored maximum points in the GTE Pro, and that meant that they too had secured a World Championship title. The number 97 Aston came in second, and the AF Corsa number 71 in third. It's the second time that Bruni is a world champion, and it was an emotional podium for him. One more race, and still titles undecided. The excitement will be taken to the wire with the final race in Sao Paulo.
Fantastic.
Welcome to Brazil for the last race of the season.
For the final race of 2014, the WEC Circus set up camp in South America at the Interlagos circuit in Sao Paulo. The fans here are like no other, with a huge passion for the sport, and the event was a sellout with spectators packed into every available space. As ever, the drivers were happy to oblige with the popular autograph session which took place in the pit lane, and smile for the camera as the fans captured memories on film.
It's very special. It's all about enjoying, focus, and be fast.
Down on the grid, the atmosphere was jovial as the adrenaline began to build. The final race will be the manufacturer's World Championship decider, and it's Toyota and Audi who are in contention. For Tom Christensen, it's a special moment as he announces his retirement prior to the Sao Paulo race, and it's a mix of emotion as the team prepare to say goodbye to a man who's helped shape the history of Audi's motorsport success.
It's probably the best day of my best days of my racing career, and so I just want to thank everyone for drivers briefing, the lap of honor, just by meeting the people in the paddock, and I will follow this championship in future, have more time to maybe speak with the people, so I'm going to enjoy and follow this great racing also in future.
After slowly building on their success in 2014, Porsche end the season in a picture-perfect grid formation with both cars on the front row. The number 20 car is on pole for the first time. As the lights go out for the last time this year, the cars accelerate down the start-finish line, and it's the two Porsches who lose Sebastian Buemi in the number 8 Toyota. He's pushing hard to take second position as the field make their way down through the sweeping centre S's, and a power failure on the number 2 Audi left Treluet slipping back through the order. It was near impossible to keep up with the position changes between the Porsches and the Toyotas. Here, Buemi and Lieb jockey for position. Buemi dives out to the left-hand side and defensively cuts across Lieb to hold the position, leaving his braking a little late and locking up into turn 1. But using the racing line to his advantage, he holds second. The number 20 Porsche led from the start, and even after the first round of pit stops, they managed to stay ahead of the charging Toyotas. And then came the disastrous end of the championship dream for G-Drive Racing, when Olivier Plas suffered a mechanical problem at the end of the start-finish straight and crashed heavily into the barriers. Door handle to door handle in the GTE Pro battle for first between the Ferrari of Davide Rion and Darrell O'Young in the Aston Martin. Sebastian Buemi in the number 8 Toyota was no match for the Audi of Loic Duval as they come through the fastest part of the Brazilian circuit, through turn 14 and accelerating along the start-finish straight. Buemi dives to the right and finding a gap that's almost not there to pass Duval in an outstanding piece of driving. And once again, it's the number 8 car, this time all over the Porsche of number 20. And the blue and white prototype pushing so hard to get the most from the car around this undulating track. He's up the inside and he takes another position. On board with the number 91 Porsche of Bergmeister, coming under pressure from the Aston Martin of local driver Fernando Reis as they come into the Senna S's. Reis closes the door on the Porsche and the two come together and spin in almost perfect synchronisation. 40 minutes remain and Toyota on pit road for a final splash and dash, giving the lead to the number 14 Porsche. And then came a huge accident for Mark Webber at turn 14. The back of the car did exactly as it was designed to and broke off completely as an oil file burnt. Luckily, both he and Cressoni in the Ferrari escaped with minor injuries, and the race continued under safety car.
Race will finish behind the safety car.
Yes, first win. First win. Finally. And the outer front them even nicer during the pit stop. Good job, everyone.
The winners in Sao Paulo, and for the first time in the WEC in their maiden year, with a number 14 Porsche. And after news that Mark was okay, the team had reason to celebrate.
This is my last race, and I'm proud of it. Oh, I'm happy. I'm ready for the future. I look forward to be part of it with all the other old legends trying to support you. And again, thank you everyone.
KCMG took the win in the LMP2 category, while SMP Racing and Sergej Slovin were crowned world champions. A picture-perfect end of season for Aston Martin, who were first on track. David Heinemeier Hansen and Christian Poulsen took the driver's title, and the team took the manufacturer's title. While Darren Turner and Stefan Mucker were race winners. It was Jimmy Bruni and Tony Verlander who were world champions in the GTE Pro, and Ferrari retained their title. Porsche joined Toyota and Audi on the podium, delighted with the race and a perfect end to a long career for Tom Christensen, with third place on the podium. The Porsche party was underway after a dramatic end to the first season back in endurance racing.